I was taught that white folks were the reason why I wasn't where I could be in life. Racism was because I wasn't where I could be in life. Racism was the reason why I didn't have the opportunity that I thought I deserved.
I am with Zeek Arkham, who is a very interesting Twitter follow. And I was really captured by some of his tweets regarding his political evolution. And so I thought I would bring him on here so that he could discuss it and describe it personally to everybody out there. Zeek, how are you today, my man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So could you discuss a little bit about your family and how you got into the police force and your own political evolution?
My family is in law enforcement. I'm actually third generation law enforcement. My grandfather was a court officer for the New York State courts. So was my uncle. And then I joined law enforcement. And I had always been taught by that side of my family to respect law enforcement, not have a chip on my shoulder, to, just be a law abiding person. And, I was. Only problem was my father's side of the family was very radicalized as far as, putting their skin color above everything else. So my father's side of the family was very anti-law enforcement. My father's side of the family, had been, I have several members on my father's side of the family who were locked up. Um, I had uncles who I hadn't really met outside of prison walls,
Wow.
for decades. So I grew up around both sides, and my father, being the person that he was, wanted us to be around his side of the family more. So I grew up with that, and I grew up with their indoctrination, and my mom's side of the family did what they could, and I always had a huge level of love and respect for them. But when you're around one side more, you seem to learn those lessons more. So I grew up. I wouldn't say I so much distrusted white people, but I did have a chip on my shoulder as far as my position in life and where I was, and just looking to blame someone for it. Excuse me. So I was taught that white folks were the reason why I wasn't where I could be in life. Racism was because I wasn't where I could be in life. Racism was the reason why I didn't have the opportunity that I thought I deserved. So, I fell into those lessons,
And
and even though I didn't have any animosity towards white people specifically, I did blame racism for a lot of what I was going through. I said, I couldn't have this because of the color of my skin. I don't have this because of racism. I don't have this because of white supremacy. I fell into the same excuses that a lot of people have today. A lot of, especially young black people, have today. So it took a lot of me getting over that. And I always like to say it was my mom actually who started who kind of gave me a good kick in the pants and started me on towards looking at myself and finding things out for myself. My mom had a pretty infamous speech with me one time where I was mad and I was sort of ranting, and I said, I don't have this and I don't have that, and I grew up without really having a father figure in the household, because my father was there, but that's really all he was. He didn't really teach me anything about being a man, or he wasn't really a father. He felt that he just had to be there. So I always said that, I grew up, really without a father figure, and I grew up without this, I grew up without that, and I didn't go on vacations, and I listed to my mom all the things I didn't have while growing up, and her answer to me was, "You're 100% right. Now get over it, because no one's gonna feel sorry for you."
yeah,
And after I got over my feelings, and I got over my butt hurt, I sat down and I said, "You know what? She's right. No one's gonna feel sorry for me." So that was kind of like what catapulted me into sort of starting to think for myself, and sort of starting to understand that, a lot of my problems in life were self-inflicted, which was which was right.
yeah. And when you got that kick in the butt, what was the process like for you of your evolution? Because at that point, you weren't a member of the police force, right? Or were you?
No, I wasn't. I
You
wasn't.
weren't. So what got you into becoming a policeman? What drove you?
Honestly, like I said, I'd always had a respect for law enforcement. Like I said, I had the indoctrination from my father's side of the family that I was a target because of the color of my skin. But yeah, I really didn't have too many options left in life, and I said, you know what, let me try policing. And of course, my family didn't want me to do that. My father's side family didn't want me doing it. But I said, you know what, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be the cop who exposes everything. I'm going to be the guy who exposes, what's going on in there. I'm going to show how racist the department is. So I had a chip on my shoulder going into the academy. I had a chip on my shoulder the first couple years I was a cop. You just even to the point during Obama's election, there was a cop. I overheard in the locker room a cop explaining how he didn't like Obama and didn't trust Obama, and I got mad and I cursed him out, and I was, you don't like him because he's black, and that's exactly what's going on with you, and it was completely uncalled for. I actually had to apologize to that cop years later. I had to find him and apologize to him. But I was into all the indoctrination. I thought that uh, 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 here I am in this department that's full of racism, and here I am in this police locker room that's full of racism. And it was actually the opposite. I had more cops looking to help me out, or looking to sit down and talk with me, or find out who I was as a person. And like I went into the police department looking to expose something, and all I did was expose that cops are human beings just like everybody else, and cops really just want to do their jobs and go home. And cops, for the overwhelming majority, are good people who got into it for the right reasons.
And when you were going through this, did you feel like a dichotomy inside of you? Because all of these preordained, these pre-beliefs that you had about what you would find, it doesn't seem like you found. And what was like that going on inside of you as the ground kind of proverbially might have been shaking within, if I can describe it in that way?
I kind of, like I said, I kind of red pilled myself because I found, I thought that policing was this inherently racist institution, and found out that it wasn't.
Did you
I
find
thought that,
any
I
racism?
mean, did I find that there are some cops that shouldn't be on the job because they're just a little too salty, and they have too much of an unfavorable view, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But are they in it for the wrong reasons? Are they in it just to beat up on black folk, or just go out there and randomly kill black men? No, I can say no cop goes onto the job with that attitude. Like, I'm looking forward to killing someone today. No cop has that attitude. Um, did I find them to make some jokes that might have been a little offensive? Sure, but then I found out cops have sort of a sick sense of humor anyway, just because of everything that we see during the course of the day. So you make a joke to sort of to deal with it.
Yeah, you have to diffuse
yeah,
that. Yeah. Inside, whenever
yeah,
you see all the evil and the hurt, there's something that it by joking about it, you're releasing all of that emotion that one might feel. And as men, we generally hold that back, and that's just kind of like a form of releasing it. So it makes sense that you would hear some salty jokes once in a while.
yeah. The thing with cops is they're human beings, and if you tell a human being over and over again, I don't trust you, I don't like you, you're racist, you're this, you're that, and it becomes a game for you to try to ruin their lives, or you're just continuously painted in this unfavorable light by politicians and elected officials, or the quote unquote activists out there, the ones who get paid to keep racism going. Cops are human beings as well, and cops are going to become extremely frustrated with everything that's going on in the world. So it's almost like a cause and effect kind of thing. A lot of cops don't want to have this us versus them mentality, but when you're someplace where that's all that's going on, and it's almost like the neighborhood is built into an us versus them mentality, and you're thrust into it. It's like I say, cops are human beings, so they're going to do the best they can to fight that, but a lot of them get swept up into it.